Hello, friends. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the Japan Rugby Football Union, the JRFU, and express a few personal opinions on various topics connected with them, with that organization. So I'm going to be sharing various online stuff. So here's the first one. Let's see, what's that now? It says, this is from the 17th of July, and it says that the JRFU is set to begin search for next Brave Blossoms head coach. Well, number one, if I don't really understand the need to make this particular thing public. I think when you're dealing with sort of sensitive personnel matters, there's really nothing much more sensitive than the national coach for the JRFU. I'm not sure they actually need to announce it in this way. However, they've done so, fair enough. And I suppose some people would say that's fine. So let's see what they've got to say here. So following Rugby World Cup 2023 in France, the Japan Rugby Football Union will begin the selection process for the next head coach for the Brave Blossoms, the Japan national men's team. The project will be overseen by the JRFU's head coach selection committee, who have engaged Odgers Berndsen, never heard of them, I'm afraid, a leading executive search firm with a proven track record in international rugby to run the selection process. Well, perhaps it's no surprise that I've never heard of them. I'm not really in this world. I think they seem to be based in London, but I wouldn't even know that for sure. And I've no idea about their track record. This will be the first time the JRFU has outsourced key elements of the selection process for the national team head coach to an external party. In doing so, the JRFU is looking to ensure the process is carried out in a transparent and impartial manner, including third-party evaluations and the objective input of high-level executive search professionals. Further details on the role can be found here. All right, well, I just think that if you're looking for someone to fit into your organization, asking a third party to decide who that could be when they're in London and they probably don't know much about the JRFU. I don't know if this is the way to go. I really don't. I suppose I have sort of inbuilt skepticism about such organizations, executive search organizations anyway. But I'm always a bit of a DIY person, so you can take that or leave that. Further details on the role can be found here. And in fact, if you go there, you get more detail, as it says. The JRFU is seeking a dynamic, experienced, and passionate individual. Well, of course, we know this. Are you ready to lead Japan's national rugby team to greater heights and make history on the global stage? Yeah, well, of course. I mean, the JRFU wants the national team to do better and better. I mean, that's fairly obvious. So will all the supporters. All right, so yeah, it's got all this sort of management speak, taking the helm of this team, etc. And it's got someone to get in touch with, and so on and so forth. And if you can even apply now if you want. So if there's somebody watching this who wants to apply, here it is. Okay, so this is what is happening right now, and I don't know if I was the head coach of Japan. I suppose I'd know that I wasn't going to continue. Perhaps I've already announced it myself that I wasn't going to continue after the World Cup, so that this process would take place. But it's to have it sort of so open is, I don't know. Anyway, next we've got. Well, this is on the Japan JRFU website. So this is the current staff connected with the national team, men's team. So we've got national team director Yuichiro Fuji, who was with Sonics at one time. I have met him. Jamie Joseph, Tony Brown, Scott Hansen, Shin Hasegawa, John Mitchell. That's a pretty powerful brains trust, I would suggest for a bunch of coaches. I know nothing about the strength and conditioning coach. Well, there are three on. Don't really know about the other people involved. I did actually attend a press conference in Oito once where I asked Jamie Joseph a question. He probably won't remember that, but it wasn't really a rugby question. Anyway, off we go to the next part of the organization, which I've only been able to find in Japanese, but this is the sort of administrative section. So there's an organization chart, which, as you can tell, is quite complicated, but no doubt much easier if you take your time to read it through and you have the Japanese. Then, well, the president is Tsuchida-san. I remember him. He's a Doshisha and Suntory man. Kiyomiya Katsuyuki, well, he was coach of Suntory, and I've translated a book by him about his time at Waseda. Don't know the other people here. Kensuke Iwabuchi, Kenny, is the Senmu Riji, which I suppose you'd say was the, I don't know if that translates as chief executive officer or not, but he's clearly at the center of things these days on the management team. Some accountant person, Suzuki, I don't know. And then there's a board of directors here. I'm not going to go through all of them. And some kind of kanji, I suppose that's overseer or something. It's a little bit complicated. But anyway, those are the people. There's no there's no English for that. I've just lost it. But still, Kensuke Iwabuchi, or Kenny Iwabuchi, I have met. I know him fairly well, actually. He is, technically speaking, he's what Japanese call a kohai of mine. Because he attended Cambridge University, I think only for 2 years, but that makes me his senior in the Japanese sense. So there we are. But I'm now going to come on to, this is a video which I did before and which is still available on my channel. Meiji Jingu Gaien redevelopment. Why not just upgrade the stadia and not move them? I'm talking two stadia here, two stadiums, being the baseball stadium, Meiji Jingu Stadium, and the Prince Chichibu Memorial Ground for rugby. I'm a bit disappointed about this. I think transparency. Okay, they've got transparency about the selection for the new coach or the process, and that they're doing it, and so on and so forth. But I'm more interested in a bit of transparency as to, or an explanation, shall we say, from the JRFU about why they feel that it's fine for rugby to leave the so-called holy ground of Prince Chichibunomiya Rugby Stadium to be shunted into what I can only describe as, well, it's an indoor rugby facility, but it's a box which will take 17,000 rugby fans, 20,000 if there are concerts there, on another part of the Meiji Jingu Gaien ground, or the area. So in effect, baseball and rugby are going to swap places. Now, one of the things I would like to say here is that the patron of the JRFU is in fact Princess Akiko, who is a member of the royal family, or imperial family, we should say, perhaps. And I wonder if anyone's explained to her why the Prince Chichibu Memorial Ground is not going to be a part of the future of Japan Rugby, and whether in fact they're going to name this new indoor stadium box thing with capacity 17,000, whether they're going to name that Prince Chichibu Stadium, given that it's on a separate area, in a separate part of the Gaien. So I think an explanation is owed to her, because Prince Chichibu, of course, was a member of the imperial family. He loved rugby, and that's why the Prince Chichibu Stadium got its name, Chichibunomiya, which means Prince Chichibu. It was named that after the war. It wasn't originally that name. It was Tokyo, I think it was called Tokyo Rugby Stadium or something of that nature for a while. So I think she's owed an explanation, and I think Japanese fans are also owed an explanation by the JRFU as to why they have effectively just meekly accepted the plans laid before them by the Meiji Jingu Shrine and various business interests, and Tokyo Prefecture is also involved, which seem to me really designed just to make money and to shave a bit off the total area of the Gaien. It's all I've given it all in detail in this particular. There we are. That's me, of course. In this particular video, which is quite long, I think it's over 30. It's something over 30 minutes, I think. And in fact, it's not just rugby and baseball fans that are affected, but a lot of environmentalists are up in arms about all the trees being cut down, and there's a lot of controversy on that basis as well. So there we are. I think transparency is important in some areas, but perhaps not in others. And I'm thinking that if I want to summarize my view, that we need less transparency about the search for a new national coach, and we need more transparency, or at least some sort of explanation about the JRFU's views on the moving away from Prince Chichibu Memorial Stadium to this box. I can only describe it as a box in a different part of the Meiji Gaien area, Meiji Jingu Gaien, sorry. So it's a matter of priorities and getting those right, in my opinion. Well, that's my view. I'm going to put it here on my channel, and you're welcome to think about it and comment as you like. Let's close this now, if I can find where to close it. Stop the share, that's the one. Okay, so thank you very much if you've bothered to listen this far. You're welcome to like, subscribe, and share this video. Cheerio now, and see you again soon.